Thank you. I now request Mr. Dharmesh Mehta, Managing Director, Institutional Equities from Axis Capital, to kindly come and say a few words.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be part of an occasion that is historic not only for the company Westlife development but also for the Indian investors. Today, Indian investors will be able to participate in the growth of one of the world's largest brands, McDonald's. To usher the new era, I have a very distinguished set of people. At the outset, let me introduce Mr. Ashish Chauhan, MD and CEO BSE, Mr. B.L. Jatia, Chairman Westlife Development, Mr. Amit Jatia, Vice Chairman Westlife Development, Ms. Smita Jatia, Managing Director, Hardcastle Restaurants Private Limited, Mr. Siddharth Mehta, Founder and CEO Bay Capital, and Mr. Sonal Jain, Country Head India CLSA. The opening bell is stood as a symbol for the new beginning for the listed company and as a call for attention to investors. Today's opening bell is a little more significant because here is a company that has created over a decade and a half of business that is sound on fundamentals, high on growth, exemplary in performance, and adhering to the highest standards of corporate governance. I'm sure that this new avatar of Westlife development with an expanded share base will become a favorite of the investor community and a respected participants in the markets. We at Axis Capital have been delighted to be part of this journey of the creation of the new entity which has its enormous potentials. We know Westlife will achieve the highest standards of corporate governance and transparency and will be a bellwether stock in the capital markets. Thank you. And I would like to thank Mr. B.L. Jatia and Mr. Amit Jatia for continuing to restore their confidence in us. And I look forward to a strong, vibrant future for this Westlife development in the BSE. We wish them the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. I now request Mr. Amit Jatia, Vice Chairman Westlife Development, to address our dear guests.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, Managing Director and CEO BSE. Sir, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. We really look forward to your continued support as we grow in the years to, or in the days to come as well. Mr. B.L. Jatia, Chairman of Westlife Development, Mr. Siddharth Mehta, Founder Bay Capital, Mr. Dharmesh Mehta, Axis Capital, and Mr. Sonal Jain, Country Head from CLSA, and Smita, who's the Managing Director for Hardcastle Restaurants Private Limited, members of the investor community, members of the press, colleagues and friends. We are honored to have amongst us distinguished guests whose presence and blessings are an auspicious start to our journey. This is a very momentous day for us. I'm proud to bring to Indian investors an opportunity to share in the future of the world's most famous brand, McDonald's, in India. It is a rare opportunity because typically McDonald's, is listed in very, very few places outside of the US. And we are really fortunate that India is one of them. So we are excited about that. It is a matter of great privilege for us to have our chairman, Mr. B.L. Jatia, sound the bell for start of trading of today's session and ring in a whole new world of opportunities for the company. Today's occasion is an outcome of the consolidation of subsidiaries of Westlife Development, which makes Hardcastle Restaurants, the licensee for the McDonald's business, a direct subsidiary of Westlife. As a consequence of the merger, the equity base of Westlife Development now stands expanded to 15 crore shares. The consolidation of our companies under Westlife opens up options for us to accelerate our growth plans in a very rapidly expanding QSR market in India. The consolidation also opens up opportunities for the Indian market to invest in specifically the growth of McDonald's in the Indian market. This is of course through the, HRPL is the licensee, but through Westlife investors can participate as well. We feel we have an outstanding brand and aligned system that makes us uniquely well positioned to benefit from available growth opportunities. We are committed to further strengthening our business and increasing our market share by building upon the solid foundation that we already have. We are confident that we have the right plans in place to differentiate the McDonald's experience and strengthen our business momentum for the long term. The company has already been in existence for over 15 to 17 years. So in that sense, the base is really strong. And we believe that this whole opportunity to be able to list and both have investors invest in Westlife and for us to be able to access capital will extremely help advance our acceleration phase in opening more and more restaurants. We've been very fortunate. There has been huge demand for Westlife shares ever since we submitted the scheme to the court for approval. And finally today, I can say that interested investors will be able to actively participate in the company through a much larger base of available shares from today at the sound of the bell when the new shares start trading. It has been a pleasure for us to have represented the McDonald's brand thus far. Westlife Development welcomes the Indian investor to join with their blessings and support in our journey on the path to success and good fortune. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time today.
Thank you, Mr. Jatia. I'm sure everyone present here will keenly follow the progress of your company in the years and days to come by. May I now request Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, MD and CEO BSE Limited, to kindly come and say a few words.
B.L. Jatia, Mr. Amit Jatia, Shweta, Siddharth Mehta, Solak Jain, Dharmesh Mehta, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Wish you all a very good morning. It's a great pleasure to have all of you with us and the board and the management of Westlife Development Limited at the BSE Limited International Convention Hall. This hall used to be the trading ring which facilitated trading during the outcry system days. It was this very hall which also witnessed India's first bell ringing ceremony in the history of capital markets in 2002. This international convention hall has witnessed many milestone events in the 138-year-old history of Asia's first stock exchange, BSE Limited. I would like to offer my heartiest congratulations to Westlife Development Limited for merging with itself two of its subsidiaries, West Point Leisure Parks Private Limited and AAA Foods Private Limited. A lot has changed at BSE since its inception in 1875. What hasn't changed is BSE's position as a pioneer and the premier stock exchange of India. With time, BSE has been able to cut down the trading speed from 300 milliseconds to just 10 milliseconds, and in the next 3 months it will be in the range of 100 microseconds. BSE Limited is the world's largest exchange in terms of the number of listed companies, and I am pleased to welcome the entire group of Westlife Development Limited. I would once again like to extend my best wishes to Westlife Development and its entire team on this momentous occasion. I am positive that it will further develop and generate excellent returns for shareholders. I wish Westlife Development Limited all the success to realize its goal. Thank you very much for coming today morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chauhan. I call upon Mr. B.L. Jatia to step forward to receive a memento from Mr. Chauhan on behalf of the BSE. Thank you, gentlemen. As a gesture of appreciation, Mr. B.L. Jatia will be handing over mementos to the partners and investors of Westlife Development Limited. I request Mr. B.L. Jatia to kindly come forward. Requesting Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, MD CEO BSE, to kindly come forward and accept the memento. Now I request Mr. Siddharth Mehta, founder and CEO Bay Capital, to kindly receive the memento. behalf of the Axis Capital team, I would request the presence of Mr. Dharmesh Mehta to receive the memento. And now I call on Mr. Sonal Jain to receive the memento on behalf of the CLSA team. Thank you, sir. Requesting now Ms. Smita Jatia to present the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we move forward towards the culmination of the opening bell ceremony, I would like to thank each one of you for taking out time from your busy schedules and being present with us on this momentous occasion. A special note of thanks to Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan. His presence with us this morning has been an honor. Thank you, sir, for your support. We would also like to express our gratitude to Mr. Dharmesh Mehta for his words of encouragement this morning. I would like to acknowledge with gratitude the continual support that we have received from our partners, investors, and each one of you who have been a part of our eventful journey. Thank you for your enormous trust that you have put in us and the brand and in Westlife development. We have been fortunate enough to have with us a team of able counselors, dedicated partners, steadfast investors, and committed colleagues who have ensured a strong foundation for Westlife development. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for your trust in us and for being with us this morning. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will have the bell ringing ceremony in a few minutes from now. Meanwhile, we have the history of BSc to showcase to you.
The history of the BSA is the history of its people. The many men who founded the exchange, and the many people who took the torch forward and built it into the premier institution that it is today. There aren't many institutions in the country which can boast of having a 125-year-old history. Over this lifespan, the BSE has had good times and bad times. Adversity and the way those at the helm of affairs coped with it is what makes BSE today an institution that is vibrant and dynamic. The passing of the Companies Act 1850 paved the way for stock trading in India, but this activity could not pick up in the absence of a large basket of stocks available for trade. The number of shares available was few, and people did not really have large investable funds for trading in stocks. Brokers were a handful of only 6. There was no trading hall or stock exchange building, and whatever little trading that took place was carried out in the open, under the balmy shade of a banyan tree. The American Civil War, which resulted in an acute global shortage of cotton, changed all that. Lancashire mills had to turn to other sources, including India. As cotton was exported from India in large quantities, its price soared. Surat cotton, for example, went from a price of between 3 to 5 pence per pound to between 20 and 24 pence. Thus, between 1861 and 1865, export of cotton resulted in an unusual influx of wealth in the form of bullion amounting to 850 million rupees, much of which landed on the beckoning shores of Bombay. Naturally, this huge inflow of wealth sought investment opportunities. Such opportunities sprang up spontaneously and brought with them a new generation of visionaries who, being in the right place at the right time, played their designated role. Premchand Ronchal, who by virtue of being the first Indian broker to read and write English, found himself eminently suited to lead the equities market in Mumbai to a new level. He floated or helped float several companies which sought equity investments. Initially, these shares commanded huge premiums, an offshoot of the paucity of investable outlets and a surfeit of funds. With the increase in activity, the number of brokers increased to between 200 to 250, as did their prestige and clout. When things cooled down at the end of the American Civil War, the organization buildup of the BSE started. At first, an informal association was created in between, and in 1887, the brokers formalized the arrangement through an indenture spelling out articles of association of the Native Share and Stock Brokers Association. In July of 1875, 318 persons became, on payment of a princely sum of 1 rupee as entrance fee, members of the Stock Exchange Mumbai. They passed a resolution resolving to form an association for protecting the character, status, and interest of native share and stock brokers, and of providing a hall or building for the use of the members of the association. It wasn't until 1887, however, that they could formalize their resolution by a trust deed, which was the foundation of the present Bombay Stock Exchange. Men of great wisdom and vision pioneered the growth of the BSE. Sri Junilal Motilal, a signatory to the original trust deed and the first president of BSE, saw the exchange through its most embryonic phase. Sri Shapurji Paruja, who was knighted in 1912, was the second honorary president of the BSE. He was responsible for setting up rules and regulation of the exchange. Sri Kikabai Premchand, the third president of BSE, was knighted in 1931. He later became the Sheriff of Bombay. Sri K.R.P. Shaw, who rose from being a teacher to the presidentship of the BSE, created an indelible impression and used his sterling character, impressive appearance, strength of will, and compassion for the benefit of the exchange. In 1916, he became a member of the exchange. In 1920, a director, and retained presidentship of BSE for 43 years between 1923 to 1966. Sri Firoz Gigi Boy also belonged to that generation of stalwarts. He played a stellar role in molding the Bombay Stock Exchange to its present status. He was instrumental in developing the Indian stock markets in general and BSE in particular. It was to commemorate his contributions, first as secretary of the BSE and later as its chairman, that the present stock exchange building was named after him.
Requesting now Mr. Amit Jatia to come and share with us the history of Westlife development and what led us to this day of merger.
Hi again. Obviously our history is not as rich as the BSE. Just standing here I can feel and sense all the traders and all the action that used to happen in this room versus what happens today. I'm sure it's quite a different situation. I'll just take a few moments and talk about, this is such an important day for us. It's a real milestone. And we call this phase of growth for us the acceleration phase. And I think with this particular event, we feel that we can actually capitalize on this. But when I look back at the last 17 or 18 years, really we broke our growth story into 3 or 4 phases. The first was what we called localization. The second was the build phase, and then the third was the grow phase, which is sort of culminated into acceleration where we are now. But the early days were extremely challenging, very, very difficult. People did not know what QSR was. The only thing we had ever experienced in our life was a brand called Open House, and we all sort of drove to Bandra to experience that. But over time, that brand also did not last very long. And when we first opened the doors of our restaurant, people felt that that would be the same with us as well. And QSR, or fast food or quick service restaurants, had a very bad reputation. So in the localization phase, what helped us overcome this was first and foremost our supply chain. So we actually created a backward linkage to the farms. You would be surprised that while India has such a huge agricultural economy, the quality of raw material that was available was not at all suitable for what we wanted. It's like not having steel to produce cars in India or to build homes. Similarly, while we had agriculture, but the quality was not what we wanted. So we invited all our global suppliers and we created backward linkages with farmers, helped them understand how to grow product, high quality things like potatoes. I mean, just 1 second on potatoes is very interesting, that all these years, the only potato that's grown in India is called, it's very small potatoes used for home cooking. And when we want to do potatoes for processing, like whether you want to make chips, french fries, or any product in the food processing business, you need big potatoes with huge solid content. And what was happening, I'm sorry to, maybe it's boring, but we only have a few more minutes, so you will be fine in a couple of minutes. But farmers thought that if I have 1 acre of land, I can plow as much potato as possible because I'll get more yield. So they were planting their seeds very close to each other, and the potatoes were small, they had a lot of moisture content and not the best quality. We helped work with farmers, taught them that no, don't worry, leave some space for the potatoes to grow. And not only were we able to get huge potatoes by doing that, but basically, okay, I'm sorry, see, I told her that you'll have to stop me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived. I request all the dignitaries to move towards the back. And I request all the audiences to kindly be seated.
Side angle से
Ladies and gentlemen, we begin with the countdown. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, everyone. We end this session here, and let me again take the opportunity to thank you all for your time and presence. Please join us for refreshments soon after, and have a great day. Join us for the refreshment.
Shiva. Hi.
Shapo.